Welcome back to Southern Tomfoolery Unlimited, our second episode.
Number 2.
This is number 2, and it's our show where we sit down with various people from the community and the industry and kind of pick their brain about some things. And so, Zach, who's our guest this time?
Thanks, Adam. Our guest this time is the man behind What Do You Do Pods, your one-stop shop for Paizoverse podcasts, a tireless champion of the community, dad extraordinaire, and real-life cleric with the voice of an angel, Mr. Jason Lillis. Thanks for being here, Jason.
Thanks, guys. It's a lot of fun to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of things to ask you tonight, but I just want to start off with just a little bit a question about your background. So, you've lived all over the place around the U.S. You grew up in the Midwest, you went to school in Minnesota, settled in North Carolina, and now you've ended up in the Big Apple itself. So,
that's right.
Throughout your travels, where would you say has the best regional cuisine?
Oh, geez. So, it is a hard thing to say that Iowa, where I grew up, has a particularly specific cuisine to which to be attached. However, I will say the cooking there is fantastic, and I miss it every day. But yeah. I'm not going to lie. There is something about barbecue in the South that has spoken directly to my heart from my many years.
It clogs it up.
It is. That's exactly it.
That's your arteries demanding attention.
It is indeed. And I know that there are a lot of people that will look askance at North Carolina, particularly South Carolinians, who are going to say, that's not real barbecue. To which I say, that's probably the case in your eyes. But what can I say? I enjoyed it when I lived there.
Well, it's all relative. So, follow-up question, is there any Midwestern dish that you miss the most that nowhere can get right? Like, my sister lives in Vegas, and she swears that no one can make cornbread in the desert. So, is there anything like that with Iowa?
That is true. I would say that there is no sweet corn like the sweet corn that you get in Iowa in August. It is absolutely the sweetest, most divine corn on the cob you'll ever have in your life. But at the same time, I recognize that people are all over the place with their taste. So I think that's a big one. I will say the thing that I enjoy the most is the hilarity of the Iowa definition of a salad. And that's
okay. Well, you gotta elaborate.
Yeah,
okay.
And so this is because because when I say salad, you're probably thinking, okay, some greens, some other vegetables mixed in, right? Salad is kind of a catch-all word in the Midwest and in Midwestern culture, and so you can have things like salad. You can have 7-layer salad. Which is a wild cousin, but
we have that down here.
Not too far off.
Well, that's 7-layer dip. Are these the same things?
No, these are different things. It's you'll find it sometimes, and it actually has vegetables in it, but it's something else altogether. And then you start going further afield, where you get something like strawberry pretzel salad, which is where you take a whole bunch of pretzels, just smother them in butter, and make them the bottom crust of a then cream cheese and strawberries with strawberry jello layer on top of that.
Man, that's a Midwestern dish if I ever heard it.
And then you go one step further and discover there is something someone has created called Snickers apple salad, which still bears the name salad, but you make by dicing up Granny Smith apples, Snickers candy bars, and mixing them together with a combination of a little bit of cream cheese and a whole lot of Cool Whip, like whipped topping kinds of stuff. And you put this all together, and it sounds like, oh God, why would they do that to themselves? But it is this ridiculously good potluck dessert.
I'll be honest with you, man. That sounds delicious. I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm about it. Like, I would try it for sure. We have we've
Southerners
had
like to
deep
eat,
fried
so-
Snickers.
Right,
you know, you ever
right.
had deep fried Snickers? That's delicious.
I haven't had a deep fried Snickers, but I do know that
It's-
one time, one year I was living in Minnesota, they served deep fried butter on a stick, and so it's not too far off from that, I imagine. Or
It's
deep fried
it's
or-
similar in concept.
I draw the line at deep fried butter, though. I think. I mean, you put it in front of my face, I might take a bite. But well, that's definitely more information than I thought we'd get out of that question. So
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that we actually need to spend a little time talking about what it is that you do at What Do You Do Pods. So do you want to just take a second to kind of break down what Do You Do is and everything like that for the listeners at home?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was a project I started about a year, and has it been a year and a half already? It's been a while since I got it going, a little over a year now, I think, where I found myself as a mostly just a stay-at-home dad with one earpiece in all the time, just in case a phone call came while I was chasing my kiddo around town. And so I found myself listening to so many actual play podcasts that it gave me an intro into that whole community where I could go in, meet a lot of folks via Twitter was the primary way I connected with folks initially. And so I decided after a while that I wanted to kind of separate out my personal account from this other project I had in mind, where I would go online and I would help even, no matter how many followers I picked up over the course of the project, to share all the latest episodes that have come out for Pathfinder and Starfinder actual play podcasts. All the ones that I could find, I should say. At this point, there are over 100 active Pathfinder and Starfinder actual play projects out there going on in the podcast world. It is absolutely massive. Now, and I'll say that covers some groups doing multiple adventures and different things like that.
Sure.
So
Right.
yeah, there's a lot happening right now in the medium, and it's just a really neat thing to see. So yeah, and it's a cool thing to be a part of. It's given me the chance to see and meet a lot of folks I wouldn't otherwise normally get to connect with. It's keeping me connected with gaming when I don't always get to play a whole lot on my own, or haven't for the past few years, though the past year or so, a year and a half, I've gotten in a lot more than I did the previous 3. So yeah, it's been just a lot of fun to get online and help connect folks and connect shows with each other, so everybody knows what's going on in the neighborhood, and helping folks keep track of that. Yeah.
Well, we got to shout it out because I do think it's really awesome, and I think that Adam has to also appreciate the fantastic spreadsheet that you have compiled online. You head over to @WhatDoYouDoPods, and there's a link on the Twitter to the spreadsheet, right? But it's got everything. It's got everything's categorized by Starfinder, Pathfinder, homebrews. Did you have any idea what you were getting into when you decided to start doing this?
No, I really didn't. And it was a big part of it was just saying, like, okay, I was initially thinking, what are the ones that I'm listening to? Who am I listening to, and what do I want to keep track of? Because I was initially thinking, I'll keep a spreadsheet of who I've listened to and how far up in their podcast I've listened to. Well, then, as the weeks...
Heard that.
Yeah.
Heard that.
Yeah. So as the weeks kept rolling by, though, I realized, there's no reason to be updating that "what's the last one I've listened to" thing, and there's no way I could keep up with that in any reasonable way. So instead, I just said, okay, let me break this out by adventure path for Pathfinder, for Starfinder, or if somebody's homebrewing something, let me give that its own separate tab on there as well. And let me see what I can find and what's out there. And the great thing is that, I'm not alone in my love for this medium and the enjoyment I get out of vicariously being present at so many tables around the country and around the world. And so I've got a lot of folks who are always pointing out new podcasts to me, or recommending folks to connect with me so that I can help them connect with other podcasts and with the broader community. So it's just it's a really neat place to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you have any help, or how do you find all of these podcasts? That seems like such a gargantuan task, to scour the internet to find new and upcoming podcasts to check out and listen to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of work. I do have a couple of folks that I know from various Discords right now, or other folks on Twitter who will say like, oh, now that we know that this project is in place, here, let's recommend to Jason what he needs to know about this new thing that's out, or Jason, have you listened to this thing that's here? Usually, though, what I'll find is, I think at this point, it's probably that Twitter knows me better than anybody else, and happens to get the right things into my feed and into my timeline as I go. So yeah, I think there are a bunch of folks that help point things out to me. Particularly, I would say, over on the Hideous Laughter podcast Discord, friends of your podcast.
They're always dropping new podcasts there.
Yeah,
for sure.
We talk a lot about that there, and then on a couple of other Discord servers that I pop around on as well. So yeah, it's, you got to set up the right way of searching for things, and Paizo, in a way, has made it easy, because for a lot of these things you can actually search by the name of the adventure path, and that will come up with a lot of stuff. Or whereas you might search for Pathfinder, like, well, okay, that's great, but not only are you getting actual play podcasts, you're also getting like each and every person's DM or GM tips and tricks that you'd want to read, or their mini that they painted, or the dice that they're showing off, or something else that they've done, a review they wrote, things like that. So yeah, narrowing down the search terms is a big part of that there. But yeah.
Are there any APs out there that don't have a podcast running them yet? Is there still some on the table?
Yeah, there are still a few Pathfinder adventure paths that are on the table. So no one has. There is one podcast that started running Curse of the Crimson Throne. They got a little ways into it, but podcasts are a big project. I never want to disparage anyone for saying, you know what, this is not something that's sustainable for us, because it's a tough venture to get into. And
it is.
It's a long-term commitment.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. So I'm still surprised that Curse of the Crimson Throne isn't out there. Up until recently, there was not an Iron Gods podcast, but I know that there's one currently underway. But the one that is surprising me maybe the most right now is that there is no Hell's Rebels campaign that is out there running. Which, if you know anything about that world, it's set in Cheliax on Galarian, which is the land that's where the ruling house has made a deal with Asmodeus to continue to be in power. And there's a particular city where the adventure path starts, and I'm not going to spoil anything beyond the opening scene. Is
that the evil one, or the because they released two, right? Where you either play you can play the evil party or you can play the good party, like, right?
So Hell's Rebels is the good guys.
Those are the good guys.
Okay. Hell's Vengeance is the evil party. That's the only evil campaign, like dedicated to evil campaign, that Paizo has released. And I'd be surprised if they did it again. They might do one for 2nd edition at some point, but it's a very niche kind of product. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's got to be really hard to do as well, without it just descending into depravity or really uncomfortable situations or something like that. I don't know how you sustain an evil campaign, but I know that people do it. But I don't know.
Yeah, and I know that there are like homebrew campaigns that go into that. And I know that there is one group that was talking about recording Hell's Vengeance. I haven't seen it come out yet, but I'm keeping my eye out for it, because I would consider listening to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious about it too. But you got to be careful with that, right? Because as Zach was saying, that could really devolve very quickly. If not even to depravity, but just like straight murder hobo, and that's not very entertaining. At least not for me,
Yeah. Evil campaigns are a really tricky idea to try and pull off, right? Because you have to have a reason for all of these terrible people to want to work together. And particularly for something the length of an adventure path, that seems extra hard to pull off. So I'd be really curious to see how other folks have handled that, who have played that adventure path. It's not been something I've wanted to pick up and run, but I'd definitely be interested to learn more about it from a group if they wanted to podcast it. Yeah.
Interesting.
But otherwise, now that Pathfinder 2nd Edition is out, of course, there are a couple other Pathfinder podcasts that don't have a whole lot of representation, but Starfinder obviously has a ton of great podcasts that are out there covering a wide variety of adventure paths. There's a ton of homebrewed Starfinder content that's out there as well.
There is a lot.
And it is, and some of that stuff is just gold. Absolute gold, and it is wacky, over the top zaniness, and I love it.
Starfinder lends itself to that.
It really does. Yeah.
So how many days long is your backlog, Jason? I feel like it has to be long. You have to be listening at like 10x speed or something. There's no way, man. There's no way. I mean, listen, I think it's a awesome thing that you do. You're a pillar of this community. But like, dude, how long is that backlog this week?
It is long. If I was actually trying to listen, if I thought there was any way in the world to actually listen to every single Pathfinder and Starfinder episode that came out, I would try it. But I very quickly acknowledged that there was almost no way.
Yeah. That's
Do you
impossible.
just get on like a binge on one particular show and because obviously you listen to the shows. You're not just aggregating them all and not even listening to the content. I feel like you got to listen to some stuff. So, how do you binge, or do you try to like be diplomatic and balance everything out?
It is a tricky thing. I have some that I initially got into when I first started listening to them, and I binged on those pretty heavily just to get to where they were currently. And then as I discover new ones, if I find that they hold particular, if there's something about them that makes me say, oh yeah, I really want to listen to this one. These folks, these sound like good folks to connect with. Then I'll give it the binge. I'll give it. I want to try and give most podcasts that I dive into 7 episodes. I feel like
that's a good number.
Man, that's an awesome rule, because I really think that 1 or 2 episodes, it's hard to actually get the read of the table, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, you can think about this from your own experiences of playing tabletop games, right? Like the very first time you sit down to play with a group, very few groups are going to come straight out of the gate with the perfect role-playing experience that they're going to provide. And so going at a podcast with the same mentality of saying, like, let's ease into our relationship with each other, me listening to you interacting with me as a fan, and let's talk about what that's going to be like. And if we want to keep up with that, that's great. I will say there are some pods that are out there that are on my radar as things I really want to listen to. And I just, for the last few weeks in particular, I just haven't had the time to do it. It was funny, I was, over the holidays, because we're recording this in mid-January, and I guess you can cut that out if you don't want people to know when we're recording this.
Oh, now we're leaving it in.
Secret.
Now we're leaving it in.
Secret. Now it's definitely staying in.
I was hoping I would get to listen to more over Christmas, but of course, as it happens, you start hanging out with family, you do all these different activities with everybody, and once you get out of the daily routine of listening and having that be part of where you go and what you do in your day, it just evaporates. So yeah, I will often binge to listen, or I'll binge more frequently now. I'll binge to catch up because I've gotten behind on something.
Yeah,
and then I just do my best to stay connected with what comes up each week. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
It's a lot to keep up with, and it's really impressive.
Yeah.
I think it's a great. I know that we really appreciated
great.
the signal boost when we first started recording.
Absolutely.
That was huge for us. So I mean, I imagine it must be for other podcasts that are coming up too, man. So
I hope so.
Adam, did you have something that you wanted to ask on this topic?
Yeah, so I got a couple questions. The first one is, just echoing what's been said before. What you're doing it's an amazing project that you put together. But as with any project, especially being on the internet, I'm sure there are some drawbacks. So I want to ask you, what are some particular hurdles that you've come across as you developed this?
Right. So I think one of the biggest challenges for me around it is just realizing that one of the things I would like to be able to do is post the new episodes that come out every day as they come out. Life, of course, gets in the way of that. Like today, for example, it's a holiday, and I had to spend the entirety of it doing everything but sitting at a computer until we're getting down to do this today. And so being able to actually stay on top of that sharing can sometimes snowball, right? Where I'll have something happen where I'll miss a day, and then, it's been 2 days, and then I look up and I realize it's been 4 days since I shared everything. If I want to share everything that's come out since the last time I've posted, this Twitter feed or this Twitter thread is going to have 30 posts in it just to try and encapsulate everything. So, that's kind of tricky there as well. The other thing and maybe the more pertinent thing to share about is that I often get asked if I would particularly like to recommend one podcast over another for someone to listen to. And I find that I have to end up having a dialogue with the person that's asking me that, rather than just saying oh, check out this one or this one or this one. If I'm short on time, I'll just share the spreadsheet with them and say, if you like Pathfinder stuff, you're probably going to look for a specific adventure path that you're interested in.
Right.
Here's the info, go find that. But it's funny to see how many different tastes people have in what they're looking for in a podcast, and what resonates with one group as they listen to and fall in love with their particular set of podcasters is going to be completely different for another person. And they're going to say, oh yeah, I tried that and it really wasn't for me, but this niche one that's over here that's doing something else, that's the one for me. And so trying to figure out how to have those conversations with folks can be a tricky thing too.
Well, I think that you are in a position where, if you wanted, you could be the trendsetter for a lot of podcasts, right? You could be like, this is the podcast that Jason's listening to. But I think one of the big reasons why your project has been so successful is because you've remained pure to your intent, which is to help everybody who's sharing in this game be able to share in this game. And that comes through even in the Twitter. There's no special treatment to any podcast. It's here you go, this is what's out there, you do the research, you find what you like, I'm here to support the community. And that makes all the difference, you know what I mean? And I commend you, because you could be well, here we go, here's Jason's top 10 of the month, but I appreciate that you're keeping it much more about building community than isolating it, and it's really special,
So that actually leads me into another question, unless you have something to add to that one, Jason.
I think that that really puts it into words better than I could have myself, in thinking about the importance of the community and all of this. I will say the one thing that I wish I had more time to be able to pull off, and maybe I will here at some point in the spring, maybe not, as I settle more into new life here in New York with all the upheaval of the past 6 months. One thing I would really like to pull off is some kind of review aggregator, at least compiling reviews that other people have already left for other actual play podcasts, because sure, you can go onto iTunes for a specific one here or there, but that gets really clunky to search through. And I would really love to be able to offer something where people could quickly click through and see, all right, what are the reviews that are out there for this? What are some of the highlights that people are saying about it? And kind of be able to help have podcast seekers look for and find the keywords that are going to make the most sense to them in that kind of layout. Because, for the most part, the people that are leaving reviews for podcasts are leaving them because they love the podcast, and they're gonna leave 4 or 5 star reviews for that. And so going in there to see what people say about that thing, that's a great way to get folks listening to new podcasts as well. I've got some other projects I would love to try and pull off as well. They're all, of course, like every project, time limited. So we'll see which ones of those actually come up in the future. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So it goes. But since getting involved in this community, what is the coolest thing that's happened to you? Like whether it be at a convention or in an interview or game or just online, like what moments have made it into your highlight reel?
Yeah. So the craziest thing was getting followed by Paizo on Twitter. That was a really weird moment to make me go, oh, I've been playing your game for a decade, and now you're giving me the opportunity to actually interact with you directly. That's really cool. I mean, that's super awesome. Or getting to interact and talk with folks in messaging situations where we talk back and forth with each other there online is really neat. Getting to sit down and do an interview with Steve and Griffin over at the Hideous Laughter podcast when I was at Gen Con, and I was there volunteering to be a GM for 2nd edition Pathfinder Society games for Paizo, which was its own whole crazy thing. You've never seen a game like a Pathfinder Society game that starts at 2:00 in the morning on Friday night.
Oh my god! No, you're correct. I've never seen that situation.
It is a wild thing. Those are all awesome. It's been great to what's the phrase I want to look for here? For full disclosure, the 3 of us and Heath and Emily from Southern Tomfoolery have all gotten to sit down together to play a couple of Pathfinder 2E games. Where we homebrewed some things for that. Those were a bucket of fun. Just really enjoyed those. Yeah. So a lot of connections have been cool. Living here in New York, I've gotten to meet up with a couple other podcasting crews that are based here locally, so that's very fun.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's they're just always neat conversations with folks to talk to them about.
You haven't run into Troy on the street yet, though, have you?
Not on the street, no.
Not on the street. Heading to the deli.
Yeah. I've thought about it.
At a Dunkies?
At a Dunkies?
There are so many Dunkies. There'd be no telling which one might turn out that. But, and there's so many delis that you could go get that sandwich just about anywhere. So, yeah.
Go get the La Valley special.
There it is.
Awesome. Well, speaking of Paizo, I want to just kind of talk a little bit about our shared hobby, which is playing tabletop. So how long have you been playing tabletop, Jason?
Sure. So I was looking back at this and thinking about it a little bit and realizing that the first edition of Dungeons & Dragons that I got was a 1991 boxed set. That had this great picture of this red dragon like leaping out towards this fighter holding an axe, and the fighter stands no chance against this thing. It's absolutely massive. And then from that, I got to play a little bit with my brother and my cousins, but it didn't really turn out into anything. There was one other kid in school that had this stuff and played it, but for the most part, it was really just us. And then after a few months, we didn't even really talk about it that much anymore. And it kind of laid dormant, except for a lot of the novelization things that I read, a lot of those Forgotten Realms novels. That came out.
The Drizzt novels
the Drizzt
and
novels,
stuff.
Absolutely. When I was a kid, I wrote a fan mail letter to R.A. Salvatore, Bob Salvatore, and just asked him some, very much. I look back on it now, and it's like questions a 12-year-old would write, to an author. And but to Bob's credit, he hopped on the typewriter or the word processor or whatever. He punched out a reply to me, put it in the mail, and mailed it back to me. I mean, I still have this in my box of like stuff from when I was a kid back at my parents' house. And I pulled it out one day and looked at it, and I was like, oh my
That's
God.
awesome.
That's so incredibly wholesome.
Yeah, it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was just this really sweet
amazing.
thing that he wrote. Yeah. And this is his licensed novel. This isn't his own homebrewed Demon Wars saga that he's got out there. So fast forward a ways from there, then of course the Black Isle studio games start coming out. Baldur's Gate 2. The first one I grabbed, of course, after all those novels was the Icewind Dale game, and I have.
Yeah, see, I didn't play that one. That's the one I haven't played.
Yeah, and I logged so many hours into that, and every time I got so far into it, I just hit a point where I was like, I have other things I have to be doing, and I would set it aside.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
Exactly. I once tried a solo run on it where I just played the same, just one rogue, and that was it. No one else in the party. And eventually...
How?
A lot of quick saves.
I guess that's the only way that you could actually play a rogue in Baldur's Gate, because your party's the AI is gonna screw up your rogue every time. Like, it's so hard to pull off sneak attacks in that game, because your party's just sitting there and just starts hacking at stuff,
Exactly. So that was a big part of it there. And then Neverwinter Nights came out. That was a huge part of my post-college years of gaming. And then there wasn't a whole lot I did until around 08-09. Penny Arcade came out with their actual play recordings for D&D 4th edition. They recorded them before it even got released. Wizards put it out. And they ran this goofy adventure with Chris Perkins. And you can all see where Acquisitions Incorporated has gone today. And so that was
right.
That was one of my first ones to lay into there. And then when we moved, we were in New Jersey at the time, and then right when we were getting ready to move to North Carolina, I found the Pathfinder playtest, the playtest for the first edition of Pathfinder, and then found out that they had this thing called the Pathfinder Society, and I said, well, I'm going to sign up for that. So I've still got a 4-digit Pathfinder Society number that I'm particularly proud of.
Wow.
That I grabbed a really long time ago, and that's going to maybe impress 3 other people who listen to this podcast.
But man, to those who know though, that is clout. You can't pay for that kind of clout, man.
No, so 8574, that's me. Yeah, and so I got down to North Carolina, and I went to this, I went on meetup.com to look for Pathfinder Society games, and this guy named Steve Miller, who would later go on to write Pathfinder Society scenarios, was organizing games at a store called All Fun and Games in Cary, North Carolina. And I went and I showed up with my very first character that I'd ever rolled up for tabletop role-playing games. I bought a set of
dice. You gotta tell us what that character was.
This character, so it's Pathfinder, right? And I'm looking at this society and thinking they're all about the acquisition of knowledge, and in many cases the acquisition of items, and getting them from one place to another place. And so I said, I'm going to make a bard whose profession is that he is a courier who takes things from one place to another. But I can't just have him be, a really stereotypical kind of Eurocentric person. So I'm going to take this idea of the Kellids from the realm of the Mammoth Lords and think of this guy who's more like a war chanter up in that area, but had to leave for whatever reason I cooked up, a decade ago when I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
Made his way to Absalom, joined up with the Pathfinder Society, and then got to go travel the world to see everything that happened out there. Had a particularly nasty run-in with a white dragon many scenarios later. That was pretty rough for him. I don't think he came out of that one, but
that was the fatal blow.
That was the end of your career.
That was the end of Soldak, the Kellid Bard. from the realm of the Mammoth Lords.
Soldak.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, but a lot of that, those folks there were really awesome. They were super generous. When I said I was interested in trying to run a couple scenarios, they of course said, absolutely, we would love to have you come in and do this. So I got to join up and run some games, and I've been, over the last year and a half, been running more than I've been playing, and that's totally fine by me. I really enjoy the storytelling aspect of things. I think that's the biggest draw of the hobby for me, is just all of us getting to sit down and tell a story together. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, what do you like the most? Since you started with D&D, but you've picked up Pathfinder, stayed in Pathfinder, what do you like the most about the Pathfinder or Starfinder? What do you think separates it from D&D or makes it stand out?
Sure. So it's been a long time since I played, let's say third edition of D&D 3.5. I don't know that I ever got a game of 4th edition, and I know I've never gotten a game of 5th edition. And so I should say I don't have a whole lot of system-specific stuff to compare between the two things. I'm going to echo a lot of folks who would look at Pathfinder and say, here is a really robust system that permits me to build any kind of character that I want. And for the most part, the groups that I've played with, the individuals that I've played with and found myself at a table with, no one's really minded if I build a character that isn't perfectly optimized, right? They're all going to look at this and say, sure, that's who you want to play, as long as it makes sense with the rest of the party, on a basic alignment or morality, like
chemistry level,
yeah. Is this character going to agree with everybody else? For the most part, then yeah, no problem. And so Paizo has created tons of options, and some of them you'd look at and say, this makes absolutely no sense to pick from a power standpoint.
Oh, so you're not playing that 10th level. You're not playing that 10th level nobleman class or whatever.
The gentleman class that Old Spice came up with. Yeah, that one. That one is a little weirdly powered. Yeah. But yeah, I think I look at all that and I say these are some really neat things to have to get to pick from. I'll say one of my favorite things that Paizo has came up with was the Ultimate Campaign rulebook, and this was back 6 or 8 years ago now that came out. And one of my favorite things about that is that it created rules in there for creating your own buildings and organizations. And so how would you build up your own stronghold if you're going to do it? What purpose would each of those rooms serve? How would they help you out, both from a role-playing perspective or in a income perspective for your character? And thinking about those things in terms of what are long-term investments that these characters would make that would make them feel less like murder hobos, for the stereotype that we look at. And so being able to take those and say, all right, if I was running, say, something like Kingmaker, this awesome adventure path that spans years of time in the Pathfinder world, it would absolutely make sense for my character to want to say, all right, I'm going to live in this new kingdom. Spoiler, the Pathfinder's, the adventure path's called Kingmaker.
I think
Kingmaker's about making kingdoms. No,
right?
No, dude. We're gonna have to spoiler tag this whole episode now.
Cut it. So they're gonna, you're gonna have an adventure that looks at that and just says, all right, where am I gonna sleep every night? What am I going to do in a month off between adventures with my buddies? And so that book I have great fondness for, and I love that somebody out there is doing this project, and I would love to see this in an actual play format as well. This guy every day posts an update for what his little character has done with the Ultimate Campaign rules that day. And he's been doing this project for years. It's like Dave the Commoner, I think it's called. You might have seen this blog that's out there. And if you haven't, it is absolutely worth a look. Somebody just pointed out to me this year where he started as a level 1 commoner. And then by using the Ultimate Campaign's downtime rules, got that character through gaining experience, gaining money, recruiting followers, building up a business, doing all these different things. And it's this wild narrative that this
So
guy's
now
creating.
Dan's like the man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah, and at this point he's like level 17 or something like that. And it's this crazy thing.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah.
That is crazy. You know, I still see so much support and enthusiasm for 1E even after the release of 2E. Do you think that 2E is catching on, or do you think it's going to take more time?
Oh, I think it's absolutely catching on. I think there's a reason that Paizo just shared the other day that it's one of the top-selling game systems for 2019, right? Like, it had a huge launch at Gen Con, and in the following months, I will say that as much as it is catching on, I can totally understand why people still want to play First Edition. And Paizo understands this as well, right? They know that people are...
Well, yeah, I've got
Yeah.
10 years worth of investment in the system with these types of books that you're talking about with Ultimate Campaign. I mean, that doesn't exist yet for 2E. So if that's the type of game you're trying to play, to have all these options, all this material to help you flesh out not only your character but the world around that character, that's not there yet for 2E. Hell, there's only one AP out currently. I mean, we're getting a new one at the end of this month.
Very soon, actually. Yeah.
But still, I mean, there's just not as much
That's right.
to do in 2E yet, you know.
I would also say that there's just a lot of stuff that in a brand new system like that is going to need some tweaking and adjustment, right? Like, you're going to go back to it later. Like, I'm thinking about how when Starfinder came out, it's like, here's this whole new system. Well, within, a few months, they looked at everything and they said, wow, man, we did not balance starship combat correctly. We need to change these DCs completely. And that's very much to their credit. That's awesome. And I think that Paizo did a pretty great thing by saying, we're going to, and I know this is probably not something everyone's going to agree with me on, but I think they made a good choice to leave out the monster creation rules until they printed the game mastery guide, so that they could actually play test more and more and be able to say, okay, how do we want to refine these before we release them?
Well, and I don't, even from a different perspective, I mean, why does the monster creation rules need to be in the core rulebook anyway? That is a game master set of rules that they need, you know what I mean? Like, that's just taking up more page space in an already pretty large tome, you know.
Yeah,
like the 2E
Starfinder.
core rulebook.
Oh, right.
And both of them are like
Huge.
It's a lot to take in. So like all of a sudden you're putting monster creation rules in there. Yeah, it'd be nice to have them at launch for those that are all homebrew all the time. Like, I get it, but it definitely just feels like it has a better space in the GM's guide anyway. Like, that's where it should be, categorically, in my mind.
That's the only person who's going to be at the table creating monsters. So,
Right, exactly.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
So, what are your favorite race classes? Or, like, just off the top of your head, in either Pathfinder or Starfinder or both? Like, what, if you had to roll up a character right now, what would you make?
A little on the spot. I think that if I was going to play Starfinder, I would definitely grab the Otterfolk race. Though I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, I wish I could pull it, but I can't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, and then if I was going to pick a class for that particular one, I would probably go Envoy with it, just to keep with the kind of like generally playing a leader class, a support bard style kind of a thing, rather than a...
Have you gotten to play Starfinder yet?
I have not gotten to play it at a table. I've only gotten to play it in play-by-post settings on the Paizo boards, which worked okay for a while, but then just as my kid got older, there was more and more I needed to be doing rather than looking at that, and so I had to fade out from those. Yeah. But that's definitely the Starfinder experience I have has only been that way, and I would be more than interested in trying it out at some point. But most of the tables when I find myself at a table with folks, they're usually looking at Pathfinder or 2nd edition right now. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you, it's pretty fun.
Oh, having
We like it.
yeah.
Like it all right.
yeah, and having listened to all these different adventures, I can absolutely see why people embrace this and just really love running with it. So, yeah. If I was going to make a Pathfinder or Pathfinder 2nd Edition character, right now I might go for an Ifrit swashbuckler. So that'd be kind of like the genie kin tied to the plane of fire, and then have them be a really daring Bravo style swashbuckler. Yeah, that would just be. Or there's one archetype for 1st edition I remember reading where you're a swashbuckler, but you get to use a scimitar, and because of your devotion to Saren Ray, you can choose to ignore the -4 penalty to deal non-lethal damage instead of lethal damage. And I really like this idea of a swashbuckler that just runs around the battlefield, taking people out by knocking them unconscious, not necessarily killing them. Because I always feel like, as a player, I want to be able...
So Batman?
Yeah, kind of more like Batman, I guess, right? But like, as a player, I always want to be able to learn more about what's going on. And you can rarely do that if your only goal is gutting the person that's standing in front of you.
And I struggle with that because me as a player, I always want to leave an enemy and take a hostage and interrogate them. But the character that I'm currently playing is certainly more of a, shoot first and let God sort him out later kind of guy. So it's tough, it is tough. It's a balancing act.
Well, a lot of it's also the party that you're with too,
Yeah.
That's kind of the party dynamic a little bit, but
Yeah.
So listen, are there so I imagine you've played through a few APs before, right?
So I have not played through a ton of adventure paths. The one I have played all the way through is the 4th adventure path in the Pathfinder line of adventure paths, and that's called Legacy of Fire. And that's one that's set in the region called Katapesh, which is on the continent of Garand in the world of Galarian. And that one opens with an absolutely fantastic book written by Eric Mona, publisher of Paizo.
Oh, wow.
That tells this great adventure. And the hook initially is, we are hiring anyone who's willing to come with us to try and reclaim a desert town that has been overrun by gnolls. And we need help making this happen. And then from there, it explodes into this whole other adventure that was just a ton of fun. It took us 3.5 years of occasional play to get through that adventure path, but when we finally did, it was a super awesome moment. We took a break in there for a while where I did run Kingmaker for that group when the other GM of the group needed a break, and he said, I need to play for a while, I'm getting burned out on this. And I said, absolutely, let me try running this, and we got through about 3 books of that before we went back to Legacy of Fire. And once my kiddo came along, there was no going back to GMing that. So
that was it. Yeah, that was that. Yeah. Well, so are there? You have all these podcasts kind of like at your disposal, right? You could listen to anything that you want to. My question for you is there any particular adventure path that you want to play which prevents you from listening to a podcast running it? Is there some out there that you're just holding out hope that one day I'm going to get there and I'm going to play these 6 books, so I'm not going to listen to anybody running this particular adventure?
I would love to play Curse of the Crimson Throne. So it actually is somewhat to my benefit that there isn't a podcast out there for it right now. Or the one that's out there, it's like, my 2 or 3 at this point failed attempts to do a play-by-post of that adventure path. I already know the first few things that happen in it, and so that's no huge surprises that were spoiled there. I would also really love to play through Rise of the Rune Lords, because that story is so classically told at this point, and I've encountered it in so many different ways. I would also love to do Return of the Rune Lords someday. That one in particular seems really awesome. And I think that's one that I would I would avoid listening to. There are a lot of Age of Ashes groups that are out there running right now for 2nd edition. I've been invited to consider playing in that one at some point in the coming year once another project finishes up, and we'll see if I can commit to it. I would love to, because I think that would be a great adventure path to run through as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think for Starfinder, it's Dawn of Flame. I cannot wait to get into that one. Though it kind of seems like maybe, I hope it's not too much of a repeat after doing Legacy of Fire all those years ago, to go into one called Dawn of Flame. They're both the 4th adventure path for each of their systems. So yeah, but yeah, that's kind of where I am for those. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Is anybody running Dawn of Flame right now at all?
There's one.
There's one?
There's one that I know of. Actually,
Okay.
there might be 2. And only the second one I haven't seen as actively on Twitter, so I couldn't tell you for sure if they're for sure committed to that or not. But I do know one called a group that's out there that started as a stream and then turned their stream recordings they edited it into a podcast format as well. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I've got a little bit of a different question for you, Jason, and because I would be remiss if I didn't ask, to see if you can relate on this. But something that I find fascinating about you is, in addition to your love of tabletop, you're also quite interested in religion. You've mentioned before that your wife has an academic career in theology, and that you actually used to work at a church back in a Catholic church, a rather large Catholic church back in South Carolina, or North Carolina, excuse me. So when I was growing up in small town Mississippi, there were no shortage of reminders from the members of my Baptist church that all of the things that I loved were going to fast track me straight to Big Red. Pokemon were demonic, and Harry Potter was teaching children witchcraft, and of course the infamous satanic panic for D&D in the 80s. So, of course, you can't speak for anyone else. But in your personal experience, how have you found navigating that cross-section of your interests? And in recent years, have you seen any religious attitudes change regarding fantasy fiction?
Yeah, it's an interesting set of conversations to have with folks to see how they're going to receive it. Because initially, the hurdle to jump over in that sphere is, am I going to be socially ostracized for any of these things? And if the answer is yes, well then maybe we should all be talking a little bit more about what the idea of grace is, and how we can work with each other on that. I will say that for me, the worlds did not often overlap, only because particularly when I was working in the church, I tried to keep that professional distance between what I was doing and what my more personal interests were at the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that for me, the big challenge of saying that any of these activities are inherently problematic is to say that we're opposed to the idea of storytelling, and that stories of any stripe, how can stories of any stripe be supremely problematic for, let me see, how do I want to think about this? I think that the particular challenge of approaching something like these stories in a faith-based context is one where we're always going to be talking to ourselves about our priorities and what it is that we want to emphasize within our lives and what's taking importance. So if I'm someone where this game starts taking over too much of my time, which would, some people might say, Jason, you might want to check in on that. How many podcasts do you listen to? Then I should be able to look at myself and say, okay, that's fair. How am I balancing this with the other aspects of my life? I tend to look fairly favorably on the approach that a guy named Ignatius of Loyola had, and to really maybe not do him any favors, but to quickly summarize one of his main things is his understanding that God is in all things. And if God is in all things, then I should be able to take the stories that I tell with this game and have them inform my life and inform my faith in a way that helps me better engage with the world around me, better relate to the people that I encounter on the street, better put myself into their shoes and see the hardships that they are experiencing in their life, and see the ways in which I can be someone who shares love and grace in this world that so desperately needs it. So if there's anything that these games can help us learn, I think it's that.
Brilliantly and eloquently stated, man. Absolutely fantastically stated. I don't have anything to add to that except that me personally, I have noticed a little bit of softening and acceptance when it comes to, these just like fantasy fiction or sci-fi fiction, things that, you can easily say are not leading children down a path of evil or whatnot, but are just an escape, just harmless fun, man. And I have seen that changing, and I don't know how much you know about South Mississippi, but we're called the Bible Belt. I mean, it's there's a lot of.
I was going to say, I went to Jackson once. I was helping out a group called...
Sorry.
No, that's fine. It was in college. I did a spring break mission trip to Jackson, Mississippi. And I don't know that we necessarily were bringing the gospel in a particular way, but we definitely built some houses. Or worked on some houses for a week. Yeah. So
that's cool, man.
I have been to Mississippi. That is about the extent of what I can share there. Yeah.
Right. But but it's very common, that people are going to be religious here, and so it's everywhere. It's hard to escape. So you're gonna see it, and I've noticed a change and a shift. So that concludes the Christianity section of the interview.
I do have a follow-up question, though it does come away from the religion side, but to kind of speak to that tabletop role playing as a whole has become much more mainstream. You know what I mean? Not just accepted in becoming more accepted within religions or conservative mindsets, but just as a whole, we're starting to see it become, a legitimate form of entertainment, including actual plays. Like this is a blossoming media form that I think has a lot of future. And I'm just curious, what do you think the future holds for our favorite hobby? Like we've got announced that the Adventure Zone is getting an animated series, right? Do you think that that's future for this actual play experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will never say that I am a prognosticator of the entertainment industry, because I am always surprised by what people are deciding is actually going to be the next turn or wave of a thing. Yeah. So what I would say is, I think that with the advent of things like the Adventure Zone animated series, the Critical Role animated series coming out, the ability for groups to travel the country and put on live shows to play games in front of them is a wild idea to me.
It's insane.
Absolutely.
It's insane, but it's amazing,
It really is. It really is.
It feels like so much overlap between kind of Adam's and my background playing music, and playing shows like that, and then seeing like they're playing tabletop at some of these same venues that you would go see bands at. It's just so wild.
Like GCP is playing venues that are on my bucket list of places to play music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think it would be really interesting to see someone try and pull off. I guess animated series, I could definitely see why a studio would look at a group that gets to a particular popularity level and go, we want to invest in that, but we can't do it live action because that's crazy, and Game of Thrones was insanely expensive and set the bar super high.
Well, and it takes away from the experience of the game, I think. If you tried to have a bunch of actors doing what the game, like, so much of that game has to be is the in-between moments, the kind of meta conversations that are happening with the players, like particularly with something like Adventures or Harmon Quest. Yeah, like the funniest parts about that show are the way they're interacting with each other as people, you know what I mean? Not just as characters in the story, like, so that's got to be translated. And so, you see all these animatics of some of our favorite shows and they just kill because it's just people talking, but you have this cool animation behind it that makes it so much funnier and bigger, and
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that the podcast sphere is only going to grow. I think that more big networks are going to pick up shows that run this and run with it because they can see the success that certain of these groups have had. I know there are a bunch that operate that way, but I think that we're going to see even more in the coming years. And I think that as live streams continue to become easier and easier for people to pull off from wherever they are in the world, I think we'll see a lot of those as well. As for me, I hope that whatever it is that is the next big thing, it continues to help people connect and find ways of being inclusive in the community rather than excluding folks or gatekeeping folks out of the hobby, and definitely wanting to see folks embrace even greater diversity every day and who they invite in to be part of their podcasts and what they do or their stream shows or whatever happens, because our stories are only going to be richer as we increase the number and diversity of voices that we're hearing tell stories. That's the only way we're going to get better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just going to add more layers to all the stories that we're hearing, right? All right, so I've got one last question. Zach, do you have any more questions?
I think I've covered mine, and even questions that I had, you just answered without me having to ask them, Jason. Right. So fantastic interviewing.
Yeah, so the last thing I want you to share with our listeners is what advice would you give to those who are looking to start a new actual play podcast?
Oh, you hear so many. You've got to know the missteps and the hits and misses of starting out.
This is a way for you to leverage your position without choosing favorites.
I would say, first off, get a great group of friends that you want to do this with. Because if you're not doing it with people that you have been through hell and high water with once already, you're not going to be able to get through it with them with the podcast, right? Like you gotta know who's got your back in the middle of this process. 2, make sure that not everything falls on the GM's shoulders. Because if only one person is doing all the scheduling, storytelling, and editing that happens after the podcast starts, that person's gonna have a whole lot on their shoulders to have to tackle.
Adam's smirking so hard right now. You wanted to be the editor, dude. I don't know what you're at.
I enjoy the editing process, but I do concur. Like, if the only reason I do it all is because I have a control problem. So that's.
And I'd say, third, surround yourself with a community of other podcast creators, particularly in the Pathfinder and Starfinder world. I have yet to see a podcasting group that actively rejects the support and friendship of other podcasters in this sphere. I think that there might be just some self-selectiveness or some selective ignorance that might be happening, but once they actually meet with each other, I think that folks are gracious and generous with their time and their advice around these things. So being able to find other people who know how to edit and getting tips from them on how to do audio editing, finding folks who are turning their podcasts into businesses and talking to them about crowdfunding if there's support that you need for what you're doing. connecting with Paizo, just so that they know that you're out there, that you're sharing their material, that you're providing free advertising for them in a way by doing your podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they love to hear about this stuff, right? They want to hear about your adventures. So it's that's one of the other things that I've tried to do, and I'm like catching up on inviting people into. Is a Discord server that I run for Pathfinder and Starfinder podcast creators, so that folks can connect over these adventures that we're running and get tips and tricks and troubleshooting.
It's an
ideas.
incredible resource. It's so good to just put all those brains in one spot, because it's like a Discord that's very specific for those conversations. You know what I mean? So you don't have all the extra flair of like everybody talking about what they did that day. It's about, this is, hey, I need help, running this script, or I need help editing this bit. And there's a whole crowd of people that are there graciously helping you. There's no, as you said earlier, there's no gatekeeping or being like, I don't want to share my knowledge because I want to keep your podcast away from threatening mine. There's none of that. It's really incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are the three big things that I have there. 1, have good friends. 2, don't put everything on the GM. 3, join the broader community and be part of the broader community. And those are
I think that's excellent advice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. The community has been one of the best parts about doing this for me. Easily. Yeah. Absolutely. It's been great. So thank you so much to everybody for participating who's listening out there. Jason, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to us, man. We really appreciate everything you do, not just for us, but for the Paizoverse community at large, man. You're an absolute asset to the community, man. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And cheers.
Yeah, cheers to all. Yes, it's my great joy to get to do it. And looking forward to all the adventures and stories that get to be told in the coming days and years. Yeah.
Awesome. Everybody go check it out. Follow Jason at What Do You Do Pods on Twitter. Good stuff. Adam, do we have anything to announce? I think maybe a specific episode we're dropping this weekend or something like that. I don't know.
Little episode 50 coming out this Saturday. And if you're listening now, before this Saturday, we are doing a little live stream party, just because we're going to be hanging out anyway. So we decided to let y'all in and enjoy some of the fun. So we'll be talking about some of our favorite moments from the last 50 episodes. We'll do a little listener Q&A and just kind of hang out, take shots with you, do whatever. So that's this Saturday starting at 9 Central.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again, Jason. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great night.
Yeah, we'll see you.
We'll see ya.